All right, James Hill Sports. It is a pleasure to invite my main man in. He is the head coach at the highest of seven hills at Florida A&M University. His name is Coach Willie Simmons. Coach, first and foremost, I hope you, the family, and the Famu are well. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, James. Great to be on. Good to see you.
Awesome. Start out with Swac football, week one. It's Miami Gardens. It's the Orange Blossom Classic, a major game, the third installment, and it's FAMU and Jackson State. The final score is 28-10. What are your takeaways from that football contest?
Yeah, it was a great week. Obviously, very excited to be a part of the Orange Blossom Classic. I think they do an amazing job, led by Kendra Bullock, the executive director, and her team, and all the sponsors, all the events that are put on was first class. So again, our guys are very excited to be a part of the Classic for the third year. Obviously, the first 2 years didn't go our way, so we really wanted to make a statement this year. A lot of high expectations coming into the season, picked to win the Swac East, and so we wanted to let everyone know that we weren't a fluke. And our guys came out right off the jump, ran the opening kickoff back 96 yards for a touchdown, played great defense the entire first half. We were able to put some drives together and took a comfortable 28-0 lead going into halftime. Didn't play our best ball in the second half, but again, played well enough to sustain the lead, obviously. Gave up one big play on defense. But all in all, great win, great way to start the season. It's been a few years since we began the season 1-0, and definitely being 1-0 in conference play is the most important thing. So a lot of momentum, but we put it to bed. The huge challenge this week going down to Tampa to take on South Florida, but very excited to be where we are as a football team right now.
Coach, there's a lot of talk around the state of Florida and around America about FAMU and what FAMU was able to do to Jackson State. You alluded to it, but from the opening of the game, you look up and the Rattlers score. Take us back to that dynamic play, and it really set the tone for a great afternoon of football.
Yeah, it really did. We worked a lot of drills doing special teams, doing training camp on special teams, and our guys really were uncomfortable with that. And, something that they're unfamiliar with. And Coach Gamble really believes in drills, thinks those drills will translate to what happens on the field. And you look at that play, a lot of guys applying the drills that we did. And Marcus Riley is one of the fastest guys in the conference. Took the opening kickoff, found the crease, and all he had to do was outrun the kicker. And obviously he was able to do that. But I told him right before we went out, I said, there's nothing wrong with running the opening kickoff back. I was saying it facetiously because I've never had that happen in my 10 years as a head coach. But a very exciting feeling to run the opening kickoff back, really set the tone for that game and for what we were able to do. But great execution by those guys, and probably left a couple more on the field after we watched it. We got two very dynamic returners, Marcus Riley and Jamaria Shareed, and those guys can really take it the distance if we do the right things up front.
Jeremy was able to throw the ball around, and he hooked up with this gentleman, Mr. Davis, 18-yard touchdown. Take us through that play and how special that was to, again, get back in the end zone.
Well, again, great testament to our special teams unit. Our defense, really. They took the ball after the kickoff and hit a big play on the first play. And our defense really stood up and forced those guys to botch a field goal attempt. And we were able to recover it and march the ball down the field and get ourselves in positions to run a waggle play. And they went zero blitz, and Moose was able to find Trey Davis in the back of the end zone for our first offensive touchdown of the season. So those guys hooked up last year versus North Carolina, and so I think they have a knack for finding each other the first game of the season. Hopefully Trey can continue to play well. He kind of dropped off a little bit last year after that touchdown, had some injuries. So hopefully we can keep him healthy because he's a talented young man, and Moose has a lot of confidence in him.
Coach, Cherie really made people remember his name and say his name, and they're still talking about him. Dynamic player. Take us into some of the things he was able to get done.
K-Dot was what we call him, is a phenomenal football player. He's a different player than Xavier Smith, but able to have that same type of impact. Dynamic guy with the ball in his hands, very tough. He ran through a few tackles yesterday like he was a running back. And obviously he has great return ability. And again, just a dynamic player that is a reason he was first team all conference as a receiver. And so got to feed him. We had a long touchdown call back for holding, which was a questionable call. Musa missed him on a wide open wheel route that would have been probably a 50-yard touchdown. And he actually got caught on one of them that would have been supposed to play for another touchdown. So could have very easily looked up and had over 200 yards receiving with 2 or 3 touchdowns. And what he was able to do in the return game, you're talking about National Player of the Week type of ability, type of performance. So he's a guy that we got to definitely feed. Just like we fed Xavier Smith last year, we're going to definitely try to make sure we find number 10 as much as possible.
When you look at Jeremy Musa, 12 of 22 for 150 and 2, he did his job, and he always does. But just talk about your quarterback, and again, he can throw it around, SEC experience, Swac experience. He's a gamer, and he's always ready to play.
Yeah, Moose had his moments, made some very, very great plays, some great throws, but obviously there's some that he's probably still kicking himself about. And very uncharacteristic of him to miss wide open guys. And I don't think he'll miss those much more often. So, make a couple of those throws. And again, you're talking about a 300-yard performance, 3 or 4 touchdown passes, again, National Player of the Week type of recognition. So, he was upright. He got sacked one time, which obviously, we want to keep him upright as much as possible. But again, he did what he needed to do. And obviously he's a sponge for information. So he'll make the corrections from the mistakes he made yesterday, and he'll be better next time out. But again, we have a talented team, and we can put together some things in the passing game, which we've been really good at doing, matched with the ability that we're able to run the ball for over 200 yards. That makes for a very, very dynamic and explosive offense.
Terrell Jennings, 11 carries for 75 yards, running downhill, powerful, and moving the chains. Talk about that gentleman and how he's so effective.
Well, we're running back by committee. So between Terrell Jennings, Jacquez Yant, Kevin Dean, we were able to run for 207 yards. So, Terrell 11 for 75, Yant 11 for 72 and a touchdown. And then Kevin Dean, I think, has 9 for close to 40. So those guys really did a really good job of running hard, running behind their pass, breaking tackles. And that's what, we committed ourselves to doing. A lot more downhill running this year as opposed to east and west. And the offensive line did a great job of coming off, getting vertical push. And so we have 2 big backs like Yant and Terrell, both guys over 220 pounds. It makes it really, really tough for those defenders in the 3rd and 4th quarter to get those guys down. And we saw them start to wear down a little bit, and we started to break a lot more tackles. And that's the type of imposing will that we want to have in the ground game.
Coach, Jackson didn't score until the 3rd quarter when they got 3, and then they were able to earn 7 in the 4th. But the first half, the first 2 quarters, was a shutout. Take us back and give us a little flavor of that, because that was really good defense.
Yeah, I really felt good all week that our defense will play well. They're a dominant group. We're very, very deep and talented up front. We have speed and athleticism at linebacker, and we have some very dynamic defensive backs. So it's a great recipe for a really good defense. And, those guys came out and played at a very high level. Alan Smith had a phenomenal game. I think forced 2 fumbles, recovered a fumble, 4 tackles. Anthony Dunn, 2 sacks. Andre Powell flew around from the safety position. Javon Morgan made some plays. We left a couple of plays on the field, some opportunities that we missed. And then, we gave up the uncharacteristic deep ball there in the 4th quarter. But all in all, I thought those guys played phenomenal defense. You take away the long explosive touchdown, you hold a team that had 500 yards the week before to around 250, half of that output. That's a great opening showing for our defense.
Coach, closing impressions of the Orange Blossom Classic. You just experienced 3 seasons of that. It has national championship implications in terms of the Celebration Bowl. And when you look at the history of it, it was always a significant football game.
No question about it. It's been synonymous. Orange Blossom and Famu have been synonymous. And it's bittersweet. Obviously, it's been a game that's meant a lot to our fans, to our university over the years. And, just weren't able to work out details to be able to play the game next year. Don't know exactly what the future holds. But if this was the last time playing it, we went out on a high note, and that's what we wanted to do. But again, forever grateful that the game is back. I think it has staying power. And again, we love to be a part of it. We'll talk about those things in the future. But for right now, we were going to enjoy the experience that we had and definitely enjoy the fact that we came out of it victorious, and we get to bring that Orange Blossom Classic trophy back to the House of Seven Hills.
Coach, now you move on. Now it's Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. It's USF Bulls football. And I remember you guys going in there a few years ago and having a great showing, a good showing. Might have been 38-17. I can't remember the final score per se, but just talk a little bit about going in there. And again, it's a great opportunity, FBS, FCS, and it's a football game.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for our ball club and for our program. Again, we know we're the underdog. They lost a tough fight to Western Kentucky last week, but a very dynamic quarterback. He had over 100, I think 120, 30 yards rushing, threw for over 200 yards. So true dual threat guy. They play with great tempo. The head coach is from Tennessee. Was at the University of Tennessee last year. So coach under Josh Heupel. We played a similar style, or actually played Coach Heupel at UCF back in 2019. And that was one of the fastest teams I've ever seen in person. So we have our hands full with an up-tempo offense. Defensively, they're very multiple, throw you a lot of looks. And, they play hard. So we got to do a really good job of executing. We got to establish the run the best way we can. And, we're going to need Jeremy to play to his potential. Those layups, as we call them, that he missed last week. We got to make those. We got to clean up some things across the board fundamentally, which we're going to work hard at doing this week. And I think we'll go down with a great game plan. And I got you have to go in and play hard, play Rattler football. And like I said, we're not trying to make history. FAMU has beaten FBS teams before, Division 1A, whatever you want to call it. Jake Gaither made history by going down and beating the University of Tampa, during that time. And then a couple of decades later, FAMU beat the University of Miami. So these type of games have been won before. So we're trying to be a part of history, not necessarily make history. But it's going to take us to have a great week of preparation and us to, really learn these guys on a shorter week because we played on Sunday. But we'll be ready to go. Our guys are fired up about the opportunity. Look forward to seeing Rattler Nation get behind us and travel to Tampa like they did last time we went. And hopefully that'll give us a little advantage as we go down and try to pull off the upset.
Coach, this is a great opportunity for HBCU football. And then also you look at the last few weeks, the big stage, so to speak, national television. How special was that, and how good is that for people to see you across the country and see this brand of Rattlers football?
Well, we're excited any chance we get to put the Rattler brand on display. We have a great product to sell, #1 public HBCU in America, cusp of being a top 100 public institution in America. A lot of phenomenal things happening on the House of Seven Hills. So as much as we can expose that to the country, to the world, we want to do so. So we're thankful that we're able to play on ESPN. We're thankful to have a televised game this week against South Florida, and all the chances we'll get to play on television. So for us, represent the brand in a first-class manner. That's our #1 goal as we take the field, and continue to make FAMU and Rattler Nation proud.
Coach, it was known as the prime effect or the prime factor. When you look at what Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, was able to do with Colorado going into TCU on Saturday and getting a W, and with Shador and with those gentlemen, just talk a little bit about that and what you were able to see there.
Well, I was elated to see Coach Prime go in and, for all intents and purposes, pull off the upset. TCU was a nationally ranked football team just coming off a national title berth, and Coach Prime, did what he's done the last couple of years and played. Guys played a phenomenal game. Shador played light, solid quarterback. As good as I've seen him play. He lit us up last year. Very reminiscent of how he carved us up last year in the Orange Blossom Classic. He couldn't miss. Travis Hunter is an otherworldly athlete, and there's some very, very dynamic football players on that team. So just excited to see those guys, go out and compete at the high level. Excited to see them continue to give love and shout outs to HBCUs, with every opportunity that they get. And I'm pulling for him. He's part of history. First Black coach to leave, Swac school and become a head coach at a Power 5 program. And so his success is our success, and I think he's showing people that, hey, there's some good coaches down at the Swac. They're really good players at the Swac. Those same guys dominating the field Saturday were dominating the Swac the last couple of years. And even they did more Saturday against a team that just lost the national championship than they had done against Swac opponents over the last 2 years. So it goes to show the level of the quality of talent that we have in this conference. You look at NFL rosters, there are a lot of guys from the Swac over the last couple of years that are on NFL rosters right now. We have 3, and so again, it just speaks to the work that we're doing here at these schools. And I'm glad the nation is finally starting to take notice.
Coach, on the MEAC side, Morgan was able to go into Richmond and earn a W. When you see HBCU teams going in and competing, how beautiful is that?
I'm not surprised. Coach Wilson's a phenomenal coach. He turned the Bowie State program into a national power. And, he had Morgan State playing really good football last year. Now in year 2, he believes in those guys. And so, again, I'm not surprised that he has those guys playing well. They were kind of my dark horse in the MEAC this year. I knew Central was going to be strong, knew Howard was going to be strong, but Morgan was my kind of dark horse because I know the quality of coach Damon Wilson is. And so they'll be a force to be reckoned with. I think the MEAC will be a very competitive league this year. They don't start playing conference play until later in the season, but once they start going toe to toe, it's going to be interesting to see how that thing shakes out. But in the meantime, we have business we got to take care of here. But anytime a school from the MEAC or the SWAC goes and pulls off an upset, that's a win for all of us.
Coach, in closing, I know you have a busy week ahead of you. When you look at South Florida and just, again, a golden opportunity to go into Tampa and to play a team like that, what goes through your mind at this point?
Well, just, prepare to go in and have a dogfight, and for us, it's about controlling what we can control. And just cleaning up the little things. I think it's going to come down to that we can get better at the little things that we messed up with yesterday, really take the coaching and continue to just grow as a team we're capable of being. I think we can go down there and really play the type of game that I foresee this team playing. And if we do that, I like our chances. I don't know what the odds are. I don't know what the spread is. I don't pay attention to any of that. All I know is we have a really good football team. We have a team that has a chance to be special if we continue to put the pieces together. And so this is a great challenge for us. Be a great test of our character and who we are as a football team. And again, we can do those things. We can really put the nation on notice.
Coach, Canton, Ohio, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Rattler. You look at the great coach Ken Riley. When you think about Coach, and now he's there forever, ever, how beautiful is that?
It's amazing. Obviously long overdue in our eyes. He's still 5th all-time in interceptions, and he stopped playing, I think, in 1982. So the fact that it took him 40 years to get in, to me, is a travesty. And it's bittersweet because he has to do it posthumously. But I know his family's very excited. Rattler Nation is very excited. All his former players, teammates, the guys he coached, the teams that he oversaw as athletic director, are all very proud to have Ken enshrined into the NFL Hall of Fame. Now we have 2. That puts us in rare company with other top programs in the country. And again, it continues to reinforce what we always tell prospective student athletes, that all your goals can come true right here at FAMU, just like they can anywhere else. You can, play on national television. You can win championships. You can graduate with a degree from a #1 public institution in the country. You can play professional football. You can even make the Hall of Fame. We have 2 examples of that from football. There are other Hall of Famers in other sports, Andre Dawson, Althea Gibson, you name it. So just the history that we have here, second to none. And of course, the name Ken Riley will always be right there at the top with those other, Mount Rushmores of monumental figures that walked the heights of 7 hills. And we're very honored to be able to name the field after him this year. And we'll obviously debut that as we have our first home game, not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Coach, in closing, your thoughts on your dream job. I always ask you this, the Pantheon, the Jake Gaithers, and so on and so forth. But at this point in the game, how special is it as you look at your body of work? And I know you're locked in, I can tell, and you continue to focus on winning games.
Well, that's the main goal. Here this is my ministry. I'm charged with overseeing 120 young men and making sure that we do everything in our power to provide a life for them that's going to make them better when they leave here. Some in 6 months, less than 6 months, they'll be out, in the real world, and what they're able to contribute is really our ultimate test. There are a lot of lessons to be learned through the game of football, through school, and we want to teach them those lessons. We want to teach them how to persevere, how to overcome adversity, how to be creative and innovative, how to get up when they're knocked down, how to be a great person, a great teammate. And those are all things that the game teaches you. So, we just want to continue to run a first-class program. We want the guys to know how much we really care about them. It's not just about what plays they make for us. And I told them all, today I told them in the team meeting that, I love all of them, and some obviously have to play a game. There are guys that are disappointed because they didn't play as much as they wanted to, or some didn't make the trip because we can't take everyone. But again, just letting them all know that, hey, it's not because I don't love you. It's not because I don't respect you as a person. Again, we all have roles that we have to, again, embrace in life. And so those traits and those qualities will be things that carry them, again, when they leave this place, because everyone's not going to walk into a job as a CEO or the president, or the highest earning employee. You may be in the mailroom, you may be an intern, but you got to kill that role. Like I told them today, dominate that role. And once you dominate that role, then you get more, So all the life lessons is not always about learning through success or through failure. Sometimes it's just about learning about being, like we said, where your feet are, and making sure that we, again, control what we can control and continue to just grow every single day and get better, 1% every day. And we'll ultimately find ourselves where we're supposed to be.
Coach, the COVID waiver, that additional year of eligibility, and some guys are able to get a master's degree out of the deal. Then you look at the transfer portal and also NIL. When you look at those three different avenues, what do you see at this point?
Well, I see a change in landscape in college football. NIL, conference realignment, COVID waivers. Again, it's very different than what it was. Even when I got to Famu in 2018, and so we try to take advantage of every opportunity that we can. And COVID was a terrible thing, and in many instances, a lot of families affected, a lot of people affected, in more ways than one. But the silver lining is that it did give guys an opportunity to play an extra year of college football. A lot of those guys were able to graduate. A lot of them were able to get master's degrees, like you talked about. We took the field this past Sunday with 24 guys who have their college degree in hand. And so just the maturity of our football team, for them to understand the importance of academic excellence, to be able to mentor the younger guys and talk about their struggles and maybe some of the times that they weren't able to do what they needed to do on the field because of what they did academically, really helps us. We're very proud to say that, everyone on our team took care of their businesses this summer in the classroom. There are no players ineligible. Everyone's certified. That's a testament to, one, the student athlete, but two, the administration, the athletic administration, as well as our university administration, for making a commitment to providing the support that these young men need, and for our coaching and support staff to stay on top of these guys. And so, we're trending upward in the right direction. We'll have one of the highest senior year APR scores that we've had, since I've been here. And we're looking forward to continuing to grow this program the right way, and not only have excellence on the football field, but also in the classroom.
Folks, there you have it from Coach Willie Simmons. He is a leader of men on the highest of 7 hills. It is Rattlers football, Famu, Florida A&M University football coming soon this Saturday to Tampa Bay as they take on the South Florida Bulls. I'm James Hill. You're watching James Hill Sports, and we will be right back.